Hey folks, Mel's 6.0 Tours, Dr. Palermo, and the purpose for this video is to try to shed some light on or explain expectations for the AAPTEL, the Analysis and Action Plan for Teacher Empowerment and Leadership. If your number in your artifacts, number 2. And a whole lot of 602 is the AAPTEL. So I want to show you resources under Artifact Resources that are here under AAPTEL to help you completing this large project this semester. So there is one complete sample AAPTEL there. Don't want to go there right now, and a kind of different approach to the literature review in this sample AAPTEL A, both of which were at least proficient. So you can look at those. There are many ways to mecha in completing these artifacts, and these are just two. So I'm going to spend most of my time, I think, in the content rubric talking through my interpretation of this evidence, and then touch on the descriptive rubric. But I'll also want to come back and point out this one article. When you're doing your literature review, you don't have to cite that article, but it's one. So with the content rubric for the AAPTEL that I've taken from the Mel's handbook. Here we go. So it is 5 parts, A, B, C, D, E. This is summertime, and collaboration with others may be a challenge for you. I hope not. I hope you can still get some folks together and do some quick work here before everyone's gone for summer vacation if you're not on a year-round calendar. Your component A, AAPTEL A, is the literature review and research. And again, I've said this elsewhere, but this is the one real true research paper that you should do in the MELS program. And if you're not used to APA style, citing the references right after the quote and doing no footnotes, all embedded, and APA style, I can show you how to access that online if you don't know it. But candidate completes a comprehensive literature review examining best practices related to teacher leadership and decision making, building efficacy and empowerment among staff. The title of the thing is Teacher Empowerment and Leadership. That may be developing professional learning communities, look for results-oriented professional development, recruitment, placement, mentoring, and approaches for evaluation of school staff. Without telling you exactly who to go research, Whitaker, Marzano, Darling, Hammond has a great little article about teacher evaluation that you should pop up. Anyway, 8 to 10 page paper with excluding reference document at the end, and to be accomplished you should share that with others. Now again, in a perfect world for the AAPTEL, all of what you're doing should be in concert with your school's leadership team, or in concert with the principal and others on the school improvement team perhaps. That may not be possible, but do your best to collaborate and work with others on this stuff. So at the end of this literature review, you might come back with a list of, you need to come back with some best practices for teacher empowerment leadership. If it's grouped along these bullet headers, that's not a bad way to go. Let me show you something else. Many ways to mecha, but in your resources is an article taken from ASCD, the Ed Leadership. It's dated 2007, so that's already dated, and perhaps the ideas of teacher empowerment and leadership, distributive leadership, have shifted since then. But 10 roles: resource provider, instructional specialist, curriculum specialist. Tanisha is a resource provider when she offers to help Carissa, a new staff member in her second career, set up her classroom. There are lots of different ways that teachers become leaders in schools. This particular article suggests that some are embedded in the work in school. classroom support or learning facilitator, mentor. Many of you may have a very specific mentoring program in your school. In this definition of teacher empowerment and leadership, mentoring is one of those roles. School leader and school improvement, department chair, grade level leader. This is Harrison and Killian, the author's definition. Data coach, catalyst for change, learner. Okay, check out the references. Marzano, Blaze and Blaze. Anyway, Harrison and Killian had one definition of 10 roles for leaders. Say you wind up and that is your definition for best practices for teacher empowerment and leadership at your school. And I'm not saying to do that, but let's take those roles as a moment, okay? What do you do next? Well, in the AAPTEL B, looking ahead, you're going to in the AAPTEL B, apologize for the delay, stick with me. In the AAPTEL B, you're going to take a list of best practices and somehow assess this against the current reality in your school. So the candidate will work with others to develop a checklist of best practices. I have seen a SurveyMonkey survey. I've seen a checklist used effectively in order to have some way to take this list of best practices of teacher empowerment leadership and then to assess the current reality in your school. So again, you decide how best to do that, and working with others or in sharing that with your leadership team would be an accomplished practice. In part C, then, okay, so you've got this list of best practices, you've checked out what's going on in your school, and that gap C is the gap analysis. You work with others to document the process of using the checklist. So here you describe what you did. Did you do a SurveyMonkey? Did you send it to the whole staff? Did you send it to a select group of 6? Did you have a focus group and ask them about best practices? Anyway, what did you do? Describe the research process and data and how you collected that. Later this semester, we're going to talk about quantitative and qualitative data. You can do a survey, or you could go around and talk to people and use a checklist and collect their words about best practices at your school. A qualitative analysis is quite valid. Component D is opportunities for empowerment. Okay, so you have a checklist that describes 10 roles for teacher leaders at your school. You assess your school. You come up with highs and lows. You rank those and then somehow say what would be an opportunity for empowerment. Is it having recruiting teachers to lead professional development at your staff meetings? Is it recruiting more mentors? Is it training mentors? That could be your opportunity for empowerment, and that turns into an action plan, folks. Okay? So how are you going to train your mentors, and how are you going to match up those mentors with the new staff? What days can be set aside? What resources? What opportunities then can you provide for increased empowerment and leadership at your school? Many ways to get there, many ways to do these things. You do not have to do all of them to be proficient or to be accomplished. Let me spend a minute on this. Now, now I have multiple copies here. There's the graphic checklist, the gap analysis, the opportunities for empowerment, and action plan. The descriptor checklist. You want to document opportunities for demonstrated empowerment and leadership. You want to lead the staff in those decisions. You want to document and analyze the implementation of strategies you've used to empower the staff. So the action plan, did you actually put it into place? And professional learning community, you may or may not hit all of these descriptor items in completion of the AAPTEL somewhere. You must hit some, you have to hit these before you complete your task stream portfolio. in one or more artifacts. So at any rate, you certainly do have opportunities to distribute leadership and decision making, to document that effort, and to empower staff members through completion of the AAPTEL. So again, it's one big piece. It is asking you to increase the empowerment and leadership of teachers at your site. And however you plan to do that, we'll be submitting each piece separately through the course of the semester. But try to think about it holistically, please. I hope that's been a help, and come back here to this folder on the side bar. It's here in Artifact Resources, AAPTEL. You've got an artifact sample or two. I wouldn't say that they're exemplary, but they certainly are proficient. 10 roles is that article I pointed out. There's your content and descriptor rubric. Those should be your guides, please. If you have other questions about the AAPTEL, write to me, please. Have a great time. Bye.